Welcome to Chilango's cooking channel. Today we're gonna make a delicious recipe perfect for the summer. This is ceviche de camarón or cóctel de camarón, which is also shrimps in English, and the vegan version, which we're gonna make with mushrooms, with champignon. These are very good recipes for hot weather. They are really easy to make, and I think this is a very special recipe because this is not only a Mexican recipe, but I'm gonna share you my dad's recipe, which makes it more special, and it comes with an additional super important detail. And we're gonna pound in the elements of salsa bruja and ketchup in this tomato sauce that we're gonna add up to our cocktail to make it delicious and to still present it legitly the same way you would have it in a nice Acapulco beach in Mexico. So let's get to it. For our homemade tomato paste that we're gonna call also homemade ketchup with the salsa bruja elements, we're gonna need tomato puree, paprika powder, onion powder, garlic powder, cloves powder, mustard powder, ginger powder, and thyme. We also need a little bit of salt. You can use sugar or agave syrup, and finally 5 peppers mixture. You can also use simply black pepper if you want. And then we're also gonna add up a little bit of apple vinegar and salsa valentina. There's other brands and I am not sponsored for sure, but this is the most classic one, and this also belongs to a traditionally served cóctel de camarón. Then we're gonna move on to the ingredients we're gonna need for our recipe. So we either gonna use the mushrooms for the vegan version or the shrimps for the traditional version. Then we're gonna need the onions. This time I got the proper onions that I talked about earlier. These are the white or silver onions. And for this recipe, it's much more important that you definitely get these ones because the flavor is much more delicate. It's gonna go better with our sauce. We're also gonna need avocados. We're gonna need jalapenos. You can use serranos or even chile verde, árbol, but it has to be fresh. And do not use canned chilies. I would rather not use chili than use the canned ones because they have a very strong vinegary flavor that we don't need. We also have limes and fresh orange. I'm gonna have a few habaneros. That's only if you like it spicy, and this one is definitely not necessary in the recipe. But if you wanna have a little bit of hot take into it, habanero has a delicious flavor and free taste to it. Finally, coriander. And this dish is always served with salty crackers, or you can take a few extra minutes and make your own homemade tortilla chips. You could also buy from the market ready-made tortilla chips as well. So let's get to it. All you need to do is, these ones already came without the head, but if they would have the head, just take it off, take off the legs, take off the tail, and then make a cut all the way from the back of the shrimp and get rid of this thing. We don't want it. And once all your shrimps are clean like these ones, we are ready to cook them. So we're gonna put the shrimps in the cold water, and what we're gonna do is, to get the perfect cooking, we're gonna let the water reach boiling point. And just before boiling point, at 95 degrees, then we're gonna take it up from the fire and we're gonna keep aside cold water to cut completely the cooking process so the shrimps would stay in the perfect, not rubbery, not raw, just the perfect spot of cooking for shrimps, which is 95 degrees. You can add a bay leaf and then simply a tiny bit of salt. That's it. Let's cook. So 93, 94, done. You can have some ice also here. They are perfectly cooked now. They are not too tough, and they are definitely all the way cooked. And like in the video where I teach you how to make your own homemade nachos, I'm gonna just fry the whole tortilla. We're gonna basically make homemade tostadas. And we could retake these to also eventually, in a following video, make some delicious tostada de tinga or maybe cochinita. Leave me a comment and let us know which would be the best tostada you would like me to show you first how to prepare. Our tostadas are getting ready. You can see this one is totally crispy and it's golden brown. I'm gonna leave it there, and if you want to, you can put a little bit of salt. Maybe I'll place it like this while it's still a little bit hot. And you do the same with the rest of them. So we have our tomato paste here. We have all the nice spices that we talked about already, and you can check the description. I'm just gonna go ahead and add them all. And I'm gonna use the agave syrup. And of course you're free to make this recipe of your own and add other spices. You could use some cumin if you want. Now we add the pepper. A little bit of salt. The vinegar. If I would be making only the homemade ketchup, I would have a little bit less vinegar, but we're gonna make it more vinegary because we're also gonna cut off and add up what would belong to the Salsa Bruja. And here comes the Valentina. We mix everything. And here we have our tomato paste that, wouldn't you believe me, that it's gonna be much better to bring these to your friends, to your family, or to your customers than a bottle of ketchup. Let's continue with the recipe. So I have here already washed the mushrooms, and with a small knife, I'm gonna simply cut this part. I'm gonna actually use these as well. Some people would just take it off, but I think it's perfectly fine. I also have to mention that depending where you're living, maybe you need to disinfect them. Here in Finland, you don't really have to disinfect almost anything. Basically nothing. And now I'm gonna just proceed to cut them in big chunks. Actually, this is an interesting recipe because my dad taught me this recipe many years ago, since someone invited him to a dinner and they actually served this mushroom ceviche, and many of the guests, including my dad, to their surprise, after they started eating it, they didn't realize that it was not shrimps, it was just simply mushrooms. So you could basically make big chunks like this. That would be perfect. So I'll chop everything like that. For the shrimps, you can use them whole, you could cut them in pieces. You could also cut them in butterfly, like this. I think it's like butterfly for me is better, so that most of the marinade will get more impregnated in all the meat from the shrimp, but it's really not necessarily. You can just go as well and just present the whole shrimp. Now all we have to do is chop the tomatoes, the onions, chili, the avocado, and add the coriander, cilantro, and then just the orange juice and the lime juice, and we're gonna be done. So I think you can actually cut the tomato in relatively big chunks. So I'm just getting rid of the centerpiece, and then you could basically go with a size like just like this. Now the onion. Now we chop the coriander. Here is a little quick trick. Just roll it a little bit like this. So you can hold it pretty tight. Don't press it. Just tighten it up and then chop it finely. Now we're gonna chop the chilies. So I have fresh jalapeno here. And if you don't want it to be spicy, simply with a spoon, remove the seeds just like this. These are clean. And then you can chop it very finely. So I would recommend just put a little bit, and the rest we can put some chili slices as well, of more jalapeno. We can go ahead, put some habanero, and these ones are gonna be optional. Now the orange and limes. I'm gonna put already a little bit of orange juice and lime, but then you can always add a few more limes on the side, so everybody can decide if they wanna have more. And finally, the avocado. Ah, perfect. This is a great avocado. With a non-sharp knife, you can cut some slices here. So we can also make a very beautiful decoration for our amazing and delicious shrimp and mushroom ceviche cocktail. And now we're gonna finally finish these delicious ceviches. So we're gonna add the juices. First of all, orange juice, plenty. You can also use Tetra Pak, and some places actually use fizzy drink, like there are different brands, and you can basically use orange flavored soda as well. And they would normally mix it with the ketchup or with the Salsa Bruja. But in this case, I'm adding it straight to the cocktail. And then I'm gonna add lime juice. Let's use this press. And like I said, don't need to put too much. Everybody can put a little bit more if they feel like it. Now we put some salt, just a little bit, to both. You can put a little bit more salt to the mushroom one compared to the shrimp one. And then what I would suggest is, before you serve it, in my opinion, it would be ideal to go ahead and mix a little bit of our tomato paste already beforehand, and then just let people put a little bit more if they feel like it. I'm also gonna put some olive oil. I forgot to mention at the beginning. And a tiny bit of oregano, very little, because it's very strong flavor. And then we just mix our dishes. And for the final touch, coriander and the avocado. So we're gonna carefully spoon it out, just like this. And one half is gonna go to one of them and the other half to the other. And we place the avocados, finishing the decorations. I added some chili also, and now we have them ready.
our mushroom ceviche and shrimp ceviche, served with salty crackers and tostadas.
So finally, we have here our shrimp cocktail ceviche, with the mushroom one, and the tomato paste sauce. You normally would serve them with some more onions, coriander. You can have some limes. This is the way you eat the ceviche, whether with salty crackers, or you can use the homemade tostadas. You can also use tortilla chips from the supermarket.
And this is the kind of dish that every bite you can basically add a little bit more tomato, a little bit more of the lime, of the coriander. It's really up to you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel, make sure to leave us a comment, ring the bell, stay put for more videos. Provechito, see you next time.